We are now on part 3 of our wonderful interview with Madhusudan, and we're going to talk a bit about Om. Yes.
I had asked him, Mother, what does Om mean? And she told me, my son, it is the voice of Brahman. It is the voice of the divine. It's a frequency. It has no meaning. It is creation. It created. She says, my son, with the sound of Om. What the Americans call the Big Bang, because Americans like everything that has to do with noise. Sorry, Narad is an ex-American. The divine philosophy of India explains the creation and says it was the sound of Om that created this universe. So Mother said, my child, Om created the universe, and so when you repeat the mantra Om, you become one with the energy of creation, which is the divine. And through that medium, it created you, and through that you can rejoin again the origin. Om creates Madhu, matter, molecules, and everything came after that. Because that's where it first started, and then came the microscopic molecules till human life evolved. So logic says, if frequency created me, if I use this frequency, I can rejoin my origin, the divine. So Om is the sound of the divine, the voice of the divine.
Voice of the divine.
And they had done an experiment somewhere, I think in the United States, where they took a huge membrane, very, very thin skin, like on a drum, so that it vibrates. They put very fine sand on it. And then with loudspeakers, they created the sound, they repeated the sound, Om. And the energy started making the membrane vibrate. And when it ended and the sound stopped completely, you could see on the sand the symbol of Om.
Yes.
Imagine. And I tell my patients who understand these things to repeat for Indians and so on, also those who have practiced yoga or I don't know what, to calm them, I say use. Otherwise, Amen is a derivation of Om. Amen. It helps them. They're Christians. And they, at times, just use it and you become calm. So, Om is something essential when you are agitated, when you are anxious. Use the mantra of Om. Combine it with something beautiful like Om Namo Shri Ma. Om Namo Shri Ma, Shri Shiva, Shri Aurobindo, Sharanam Mama. I bow down to you, Mother and Shri Aurobindo. You know? And things like that, we automatically create this frequency which created you as a spirit, the sound. So then you become absolutely one with the Mother, with the Shri Aurobindo, with the divine. And in the process of spirituality, I think it has been a very important instrument for spiritual disciples and students of spirituality.
No. When did you leave the ashram? When did you last see Mother?
Oh, I came several times. Let me tell you my departure, my last meeting with the Mother, and about an episode that came before that thing. While preparing to leave, there was a lady who came from North India, Mrs. Sondhi. I wish she's still there. I don't know where she is. And if she is, I hope she sees this video and she hears that I love her dearly, my Auntie Sondhi. She was a devotee of Mother and Aurobindo here in the ashram. She was visiting and so on. She said to me, my son, you're going to Germany for studies. I want you to make me 2 promises before I give you my blessings. Because I believe in the blessings of our elder. But I even believe in the blessings of the children. And I said, yes, my aunt. What can I promise you? She says, 1, that you will not drink alcohol. So I had not even thought about all these things. But while she was saying this, you should not drink alcohol, to make this promise, straight away I thought about the mother, that I have to ask her this question. I said, my aunt, I promise I will not drink any alcohol. She says, and second, promise me that you will not eat meat. So I said, yes, my aunt, I promise you, and she blessed me. I straight to the mother, because I had the right to go. And I said, Mother, I met my aunt Sandhi, and she made me make 2 promises, and I made those promises even without really meaning it, in the sense that I will or I will not, because I wanted to ask you first. She says, what is it, my child? And as always, she's laughing as if she knows, and she knew. She knew. She was far too smart for me to hide something from her. And this is the whole problem, because there'd be a lot of things I would do, Mother, if I could fool you. There's no chance. So I said, I asked her, she told me not to drink alcohol and not to eat meat. And Mother looks at me and says, my child, listen. First of all, for meat, you are very thin. You're going to Germany. It's very cold. You want to study physical education. So you must eat everything. You must eat healthy food. Eat meat. Eat what they serve you. And it's good for you because you have to put on weight. I was very thin at the time. As for alcohol, she says, you know, my child, Germany makes very good beer. And fresh beer is nutritive. She says this. I didn't even know what beer is. So she says, so drink beer. As for other alcohol, she did not say don't drink other alcohols like cognacs or whiskeys or vodkas. Something divine, really. That's why they call it spirit. Anyway, as for other alcohol, tu peux le laisser faire. You can let it be. She didn't say you don't, but you can let it be. Tu peux laisser faire. Now, at that time, if I had said this to my colleagues here, other students and so on, the mother told me, they would have really killed me, saying that that's blasphemy. Mother would never say something like this. But you see how tolerant Mother was. And how understanding
of your body.
Of body.
And you're going to a different country.
Yes.
A cold country.
Yes. And these are fantastic examples. The reason, and then things like what you taught me in my life. I'm one person, and perhaps the only person I know, because others might be doing it too, who do not try. I will never tell you, I will try to come. I will come or I will not come. Because if I say I will try, it means 50% chance I will succeed, 50% chance I will not succeed. And I'm so proud, I'm so arrogant over myself. I said, no, either you do it or you don't. So I say yes or no. And that Mother taught me. Why? Because I told you, I used to go to her, she used to give me 2 fresh tomatoes, and in a basket she put this egg. Yeah. And one day I forgot to bring the basket. So she says, my child, where's the basket? I said, I forgot because I was playing. Doesn't matter, she says. You take it in your hand, but make sure you don't break it. And I said to her, I will try to make sure that it doesn't break. She says, arrête mon fils. No. N'essaye pas. Do it. Don't try. Succeed. Do it. I said, yes, Mother. I will make sure it won't break. And since that time, I don't believe in saying I will try. Either I do it or I don't.
Now you're going to tell us.
So the last visit, when I'm leaving, I went to her for my blessings and so on. I can still remember. I had tears in my eyes, and she says, no, my child. You are going for a very important mission. And the last word she says, and she blessed me, I was there for a long time at her feet. You should have. You put your head there. Alex, you put your head on Mother's feet. You can still do it with the samadhi, but with this feeling that you're virtually putting your head on her feet. Don't ask anything. Just say, Shrima, ti amo, I love you. And hold the feet. Put your head on it. And you will disappear. All your pain, all your sorrows, everything, nothing is there. You have nothing to ask. You have everything. So I did that. Then she says to me, she looks at me, I'm standing in the house. Va mon fils, go my son. Fort comme un soldat, courageux comme un soldat, fort comme un saint, courageous like a soldier, strong like a saint. And I was still young. I was only 21, I think, at that time, or 20 something. But I always remember that.
Courageous like a soldier, strong like a saint.
And when you go out of a divine paradise like this into this world outside, and you are talking today what all is happening in life, you can't imagine what that blessing of being strong and being courageous means. This is what brings you through everything, through every single battle, because you remember this when she's there, she's saying, she puts it in you. And you become that. And look, why this was a paradise. So never try, be strong, be courageous. And I will never, never, ever change.
You said you came back sometimes.
Oh, I came often. And every time I came, I had this privilege of always the mother, and that's the only reason I came. And every single time, she said to me, my child, you have to continue your work outside. You continue learning. You continue doing what you're doing. And I didn't have any sense for money, earnings, nothing. At that time, there was, India, one could not take out currencies. You could not convert rupees into dollars.
Yes, yes.
I left India with 5 rupees in my pocket, $5 in my pocket. But she told me, my son, don't worry about money and all that. Don't worry. It'll be organized. You will organize. So I never asked for a scholarship because my father was a millionaire. And I didn't want any money from him. I certainly didn't want to take money from the ashram. They needed for other things. And mother would have given me. She said no. She gave me this chain, and I've always worn this. This was the mother who put it around my neck. And she says, wear this. Keep this always with you. And she gave me a ring, which I don't have now, but she put it on because it broke. I took it. With a picture of hers inside. And she consistently reminded me that she's there with me, because I am very attached. I'm a very sentimental person. I'm very physical. I touch my patients. I like to caress children. I like to caress beautiful objects that can be touched. I don't touch everything. I love to embrace trees, and you feel the energy. And the interesting things, oh my God, mother has said so many things, so many stories, so many interesting episodes. I don't even know where to start and all. But I used to come on a regular basis, and inevitably there were problems with fellow students and fellow people, because when I used to come, I used to train in the playground, the boys and girls, in physical activities, in sport activities. And so I had my my particular way and so on. So there would be conflicts, and mother would always calm me down and always remind me that I have a mission. I have to give, I have to heal, I have to love. And I asked her, why is it that I have such a temper? Why is it that I get so angry? Why is it that I'm so rebellious? And she says, because you are here for a cause, the divine cause. And you need that energy to destroy the obstacles She said, it is in you is born the energy of Shiva. You're born with the energy of Shiva. And so you have the power and the capacity through this particular energy of Shiva to destroy obstacles for the divine creation, divine work. And you can see that is why I succeeded without 1 cent of scholarship, because I never asked. I worked, I've swept floors for old ladies as a student to earn money to pay for my studies. I worked in the tennis bar, prestigious of Cologne, and I was the most beloved bar boy who'd serve drinks to all these rich people who played tennis and who'd give me tips which were 10 times what they had consumed because they loved me. And I paid my studies with things like that. And I never exaggerated with my eating and drinking. And even today, my preference is vegetarian food. But I say, when they ask me, do you eat everything? I say, I eat everything. If it's not moving, I will eat it.
And back to this anger. Mother.
Yeah, mother told me, you have to channelize this. She says, but don't lose it. She says, you can't. I don't want it. Because I told her, why don't you take it away? About my hands also, I said, mother, why don't you cut them off? Then I wanted, oh no, my child, they're for healing. And I said, why don't you take away this? Oh no, my child. J'ai pas besoin d'en enlever. She said, I don't need to take it away. But what? She said, because you will see, you will channelize. And so I am very powerful when I want to do something. Then it gets done. And I don't use it for personal prestige and power. I have no desire for powerful positions or fortune. And this also she told me, ne t'inquiète jamais. Don't worry ever, because you will always be provided. Just I will always provide you with everything you need. So now, even to this day, I have never worked for money. Matter of fact, it's a miracle how much I've studied. I was offered to take up a responsible position in Paris with the World Health Organization to look after Asian section of World Health Organization. And this through the contact of a friend of mine with whom I learned German in the Goethe Institute in Germany when I went. And his father was somebody very important.
You speak German?
Yes,
Fluently?
fluent. I speak fluent German, I speak fluent Italian, I speak fluent French and English. And his father was very fond of me. He was a very important person in Paris. And so when I was finishing my studies, my medical studies, it offered. So the doyen, the dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Dr. Jean de L. Mignon, fantastic man, divine person, a noble man. He was the dean of medical faculty. He says, my son, you are excellent in what you know and all that. If you are going to go and work after you finish for the World Health Organization, I know that you have no knowledge of administration and management. And that's true. I did not know what debit is, and I did not know what credit is. I really did not know and so on. So I said, that's right. So he says, you should take courses in business administration and management so you understand what administration is, management is. So believe it or not, here's mother's child who was good for nothing. I also have an MBA, Masters in Business Administration. But it has helped. But it did mother's work. I decided not to go for the World Health Organization because, again, my rebel spirit, I don't want to be dominated by anybody or anything. Not even by my own weaknesses. I don't want to be dominated. This is why I don't want to possess anything. Because I don't want to be attached. Because then I become dependent. So it's not your spiritual dimension of you people who are sannyasis and sadhaks who renounce everything. I renounce everything not because Mother and Aurobindo have taught me something. It's because of a very egoistic reason. I feel free. If I possess something, then I have responsibility. And if I lose it, then I'm attached and I suffer. And I don't like suffering. I'm too lazy to suffer. So he said, learn. I have not still, and I have it helps me in my work. I've helped big corporations. Very, very important. Because I understand what management and business administration is. I'm not at all interested in money and profit making. But they invite me to help them solve their problems. And again, this is this integral approach because I want them to be healthy also physically and emotionally, psychologically. Because a healthy working population produces better, the quality is better, the productivity is higher, and the rate of absenteeism due to illness is reduced. So it's also good for the company economical objectives.
Sure.
So it makes sense that when it's an integral approach that helps them not only plan well, business strategies, but also look at this dimension of these strategies cannot be fulfilled if the population that does it, the workers, are sick and unhappy, if they are sad, if they are suffering. And I know so many managers with heart problems, with problems of nervousness because of the tension. And then they come to me, they not only are transformed, they perform well physically and health-wise, but they also become different. They're nicer to the employees. And I know that people are mean to others because they're afraid, basically, to lose power. And I don't want power, so I can be mean because I got angry with you for something, but I don't hate and I have no enemies. So it helped me. And mother told me, très bien mon fils, il n'y a pas de problème. Whatever you do it, it'll come. But I said, mother, why don't you tell me exactly what steps, which career? Mon fils, you have come with it already. Why do I have to repeat it? So you can see why I used to get angry with her. Because she would not explain. Because she didn't see the need to. But she had also the reason that when it comes by itself, you become aware. When the situation comes, you see you have the capacities.
I want to ask you something very special.
Monsieur,
And that's about your contact with Sri Aurobindo at any point in your life.
physical contact was only at darshan time, where I insisted on a smile from him. I told this to the mother, and she says, "I know. I'm always witness to it, because then I used to take more time than everybody else, which was unacceptable because everybody just. I don't know why they were afraid of Mother and Shiva. Matter of fact, I can't understand why people are so devoted to Mother and Shiva in the sense I want them to love Mother and Shiva, not be. With this open relation, hey, ti voglio bene, mamma mia. Madre mia, or mamma mia. I love you, mother. And with Shumita, the contact was this particular contact. And then there is this intellectual contact is in the things that I've been writing. But it is not in spirituality. As I said, I've written a book on spirituality, illuminated materialism, and the fabulous human mind for self-fulfillment or for happiness. Because I see everywhere I go, in the ashram, everywhere else, there's this conscious or unconscious idea in the head that either you're spiritual or you are materialist, either spirit or matter. And people feel guilty because they need money or because they are working for money. People feel guilty to be rich. And so many people said, yes, I would like to earn. I don't want to make too much, just enough. So why not too much? Because mothers explained this to me, that money is energy, Lakshmi. And Narad, apart from nature, everything else you see on this earth was the power of Lakshmi behind it. Without it, it can't be. Mother explained me the process of manifestation. Because I asked her, how do things come about to be? Then she explained me, it starts with the energy. It started with Om and became molecules. So the same thing about manifestation. Without money, nothing can be manifested. So this chair was non-molecular, was an energy. When? It was born, and she told me everything is already there. It only needs to be formulated and brought down, manifested. So this chair was already there in a non-molecular form, energy, somewhere. And then, the day the man who made this chair decided that he wanted to do something, already this energy is starting to molecularize. Then he says, what do I want to do? Because I have to live. I know it's taking time, but this is important.
No. We have the whole day.
No, but this is important that you understand. The process of manifestation, she says, the moment he says, I have to do something, already this chair is starting to take, hey, perhaps I'm going to be born now, because he might decide to create me. Then he says, yes, I have to do something. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a tailor. I would like to do something with my hands. I want to make furniture. What kind of furniture? Almirahs, doors? No, I want to make chairs. The more he thinks, the more this chair becomes
Formulate
itself.
Yes.
Till he starts even visualizing. He has visualized it precisely. I'm guaranteeing you, otherwise it's not possible. It was visualized exactly in his mind. Perhaps he even made sketches. Then the energy of Lakshmi is applied, that he buys the material, the tools, and he creates, and the chair is manifested. Now tell me, you guys who are wise, why cannot not manifest greater things? And I've done that, and you have done it too. You're a great musician, you're a great disciple. How come? Because you wanted it. And she told me, quand tu le veux, mon fils, tu commences le procès de manifestation. When you want, my child, the moment you want, you start the process of manifestation. Alors faites attention. So be careful, my son. I said, pourquoi? Why? Be careful. He says, because you have to want the right things, because you make the mistake to want the wrong thing.
Yes.
You're in trouble. And believe me, it happens. Can I give an example?
Yes, please.
I was a student in Boston, young. So perhaps you should ask me later what mother had said about sex, because this is something to do with sex. But nothing scandalous. I come from the university in my little car, Volkswagen, with all my books in it. While I'm taking out the books, it's a broad avenue,
And where was this?
In Boston.
In Boston?
Yes.
Okay.
Marlborough Avenue. And all the homes are, in front of the homes, first there are steps that come down.
Right.
Then there's a little passage, a little garden in front, and then there's the trottoir, the marche à pied, or what you call it, the footpath, and then there's the road. So I park my car on the other side, and I'm living in that building there, and I see this absolutely beautiful young girl cross the street and go into the house on the opposite side of my car. Beautiful. I said, oh, I would like to know, the thought, the energy of creation, sex. She's beautiful. I would love to know her. No intention, no, no thought of sex or so on. But I know that basically it is biologically there is a drive. Well and good. I wanted to get to know her. I said, I would like to. That's already wanting. So already the process of manifestation started. 2 days later, I come back again, and she's sitting on the steps that go into her building where she lives. Beautiful. And she looks at me, I look at her, and she smiles, and I smile, and she calls me. And I said, hey, Ma, look at her. She wants to get to know me. I know that she was already laughing, because now I'll tell you. I leave the books and everything in the car, I close the door, I walk. When I pass the road and I come onto the footpath, I look at her, I realize that she's a transvestite. Is that how you say it in English?
Yes,
transvestite?
Yes.
And I stop. She starts laughing because she knew that I had not recognized. I was thinking that she's a real girl, but she was not a real girl. She was a boy dressed like a girl, And she knew that I had not understood, and so I started laughing. I stood there. I didn't laugh, and she started laughing. She says, "Hey, no problem at all. It's okay." She says, "I said, I'm sorry. I thought." She says, "No problem." She says, or he says, So then I remembered what Mother had said. Faites attention. be careful of what you want. And you see what happens. I got into a terrible situation of embarrassment. And this is just an example. So we can do marvelous things with this process of manifestation, that what you want becomes. But you have to strong. That's why visualization is very important. Most people say, I would like to be rich. But if you ask them, and they're not rich. Why? Because they don't know what they want as rich. It's a feeling. But it's so already it's manifesting, but it can't descend because they have not given it sufficient energy. The energy comes when they visualize what they want,
Yes.
and then when you start working towards it, then it matters. It's not just wanting it. If I stay in bed all day and say, I want to create a chair, never.
Mother said to us about the new music.
Yeah.
She said, it's just above your head waiting to descend.
Yeah.
Just what you're saying.
Yes, this is inspiration. And once you manifest it, it can be re-manifested much easier for many, many people. So wealth is there. We can build wealth. But I am not interested in money. And she told me, well, it doesn't matter, you're not interested because you have everything you want.
But similarly with healing also, if someone were to work on a specific problem in the body, it goes into the universe if they heal it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Suffering is also contagious, so is all healing. Because in the process, this is divine process, there is really no duality. There is no night and day. It's up to us. And when you create something beautiful, it goes wider. So in healing also, I want people to really visualize not the illness, visualize their health. And when they say Om Namo Shiva, you become Shiva, or Om Namo Shiva, or just Om. You become that Om, you are in absolute health because energy has no molecules, it is not biological, so it can't have illness. Only molecules become ill. Only cells become ill. My brain cells can become ill. My thoughts, no. And I have told my brain, you think what I say, I, as a divine spirit. And that's why then I don't have 55,000 thoughts. Only thoughts that I like, and only thoughts that make me smile and laugh. And very often my wife will say, I'm sure you're thinking of something humorous. I said, why? Because you're smiling. She says, and you're laughing. What are you thinking? And I tell her what I was thinking about. And then she starts laughing also because there's so many humorous things in life. Yes. And it's interesting.
I did want to ask you, and of course, whatever your response is, I fully accept. And that is about the supramental force that they have brought down to Earth.
And you see, this is the whole point again for me, why I'm a rebel. Why I said I don't want people to stone me and say this guy is crazy. But what makes me mad is that they have brought down this force. You say it, everybody repeats it in the ashram, everybody is saying it all the time, everybody is just talking about it. But nobody is doing anything about it. This supramental force can only be used if you use it. It can only work if you use it. I can have $1 million in my pocket and they will crumble and die and perish unless I take it out and use it. The energy of Lakshmi can only work when you apply it. Money by itself doesn't move nothing, but how you use it. So the supramental force, the only way it works is when people like you and him apply it, manifest it, use it. But don't think that it has to be used only for high noble things. For even the daily stuff of your daily life, by this feeling of absolute awareness inside, this psychic consciousness, this divine soul consciousness. In this new book that I've written about mind, spirituality, materialism, and the fabulous human mind, I explain the value of all these things together, why they're each, all of it is important, but together. That is the whole idea of the integral yoga, if I've understood well Aurobindo, unless I'm totally fucked up here. that I've not understood nothing, but what I understand from Aurobindo's yoga is that this life is not just for living in heaven, but living it here, bringing heaven down here, and living this heavenly life on earth. And becoming the divine beings that we are inside, outside. So, talking of this supplemental force, my God, but this is what is, I'm 78, I'm in perfect health. I got diarrhea day before yesterday, but my body had it. I did what was necessary and I'm okay now. So, supplemental force is there. And people are waiting for some miracle to happen to show that this is supplemental force. But this is happening all the time. Why is it that Pondicherry was not wiped away when the tsunami came? You know? Why is it that Madhu and his wife were out on the streets when the last cyclone, when you were talking about there was a cyclone some years ago when Maurice's house was completely destroyed. And we were supposed to move in for 1 week there because we were in the new guest house. They could not keep us for 1 week. We had to move out and then come back after 1 week because everything was booked in advance. And we decided, Maurice said, look, I'm going away on vacation for 10 days or whatever, so you move into my place. Here are the keys, or you get the keys and you will get and you move in. And we decided no. We woke up, we said no, we'll go back. We had reserved for 4 weeks. We flew back in 5 days. And the day after we moved, we flew there. When we arrived, I got a call saying, my God, you must know something that everybody else doesn't know. I said, why? He said, you escaped before the storm came, because Maurice said himself, my God, what would have happened? There was not a single room available anywhere in the ashram or in Pondicherry.
Yeah.
So we had to go to his apartment. But if his apartment was totally destroyed, he said totally, everything was just water, all the glasses, everything was broken. Everything. I don't know if you've ever been to Maurice's house.
Yes, I have.
It's incredible. Yeah. He said, Mother, you couldn't have stayed anywhere. It cost him a fortune to redo it. So now you can see that supplemental force works, but only if individuals apply it, and by individuals and not just like that. And then each individual counts. So more people use it for their personal life, for their personal self, and in their daily process of living, and in the state of consciousness, then I think that would be fantastic. So I don't want to be in the ashram and meditate for hours in front of the samadhi. That's for me waste of time. And I told that to Mother, and she said, that's why I said to you not to worry about my meditating. Because to me, that's not spirituality. But for you guys, yes, please, for heaven's sake, I'm not saying don't meditate. Do what you're doing, it's right. I have no advice to give to anybody, but that's my way of doing and working with the supplemental force. And in medicine, it's very important.
Yes. Did Mother speak to you about anything about the future?
My God. I was never worried about the future. The discussion of the future was always between the rapport of Mother and me. And because she had told me that she brings me, every time she comes and she needs me, she brings me along. And so I said, now that we are here, what happens when you depart physically?
You asked her that?
Oh, yeah. And she says, my son, same procedures as every time. And you will continue. And when the time comes, you decide to come. You have to decide when you want to leave, and you will decide when the time comes. I said, how long? When do you think? She says, my son, you have a mission. And when you have completed the mission, you will know. And then you decide and you come back and I'll be with you, and then we will see what next happens. Now this is blasphemy perhaps, but what do you want me to do? People will say, well, you're telling all this is nonsense. Okay, it's okay for you. It's all lies and nonsense, perfect. But if I can be happy with my lies, why not?
So
I don't need to lie. The reason I don't lie is again because I'm very egoistic. I reflected very deeply and I said I can fool the whole universe, every human being. I can fool even the divine and convince him that I'm saying the truth. But there's one problem. I know one person that I could not convince, and that's myself. So I said, then I don't have to lie.
when you first left the ashram, How do you feel that Mother guided you in those early days when you had left and you were studying?
I was so busy that I didn't have, and I suffered so much. Suffered in the sense suffered. For me, money was only for using. So I never knew how to save money. I know another young man who does the same. He goes, he works for a few months and come back to spend here, to live here, and then when it's finished, he goes back and works. I'm talking to you, my friend Alex. That's beautiful. So I was so busy surviving, in the sense, I have passed months living in a small room under a roof, which was the cheapest place where I could find to stay, which had no heating, no insulation, in German winters. So I had to wear gloves at night to read my book or whatever, with a small lamp and a little small heater that stingy lady who was very stingy, she had put, Mrs. Fleschenberg. But I didn't have time to talk to mother or to pray or meditate and say, no, I have to study, I have to work. So I did work. I spent times when I was doing my degree, even hungry, eating for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner the same thing, peanut butter sandwich, which was the cheapest I could afford. And for luxury, on the weekend, on Sunday, I will have one bag of tea, with which I made at least 2 or 3 cups. But that's luxury. But otherwise, only for breakfast, only peanut butter and bread. Lunch the same, the dinner the same. And when you are living like that, you have no time to think or pray to God, because you say, hey, stop praying, work and do something to solve the situation, because I knew he won't come. But that is where you feel the presence, that she's there. So you can do you can struggle, you can fight, and you can suffer, because she's there, she's going to push you through, you'll come through. So I never worry what will happen tomorrow. And it has been miraculous. We have had everything. What we have, we enjoy. We don't have everything. What we don't have, my wife and me, we don't miss. So neither of us have wishes. I would like to buy that, I would like to possess this. I see beautiful things, I love them, I appreciate them. But I want them to be there. I don't want to.
Yes.
So during this presence of Mother and Aurobindo is something that you constantly have on, whether you're sleeping or you're awake, whether you're suffering or you're dancing. This is the joy of living. Because even in that hard time, which is not enjoying, when you are really cold and hungry, and you have to pass exams, and I did more subjects at the same time than most average students did, to the point that the dean had once called me and said, are you crazy, Madhu? Because you fall through one subject in medicine, you have to restart the whole damn program all over again. You know, in my specialization and all that. I said, no, I have no time because of shortage of money. And my wife, she worked for the first 8 years that we got married, but after that, I studied and worked and did everything. And she has always, I'm talking about the mother, she's always somehow organized that there was enough that this guy won't perish. What divine creates, not even man can destroy. And that is how I feel the presence of Mother and Aurobindo. There are no spare moments. There have been moments. One incident's very interesting, and that's also miraculous. I was invited by patients in Rotterdam. So I arrived from Canada by air to Amsterdam, and I had rented a car. So I was driving with the car early in the morning. I'd flown all night. I was driving early in the morning, very early, on the highway, very fast, alone in the car. It has never happened to me. I do not know what happened. I know, Mother had always said, awareness, my child, be conscious. But somehow, I fell asleep. And the car went off the road. Very 100 150 meters down the down the mountainside with trees, forests. The moment it went off, and I woke up, and I saw all these trees going by me, and the car going through at that high speed. And then it came to a stop like that. There was no possibility for me to get out easily, and even after I got out, they had to help me. 5 people came and so on. The couple driving behind saw what happened, so they phoned. The miracle is that there was not a scratch, not only on me, but this car was completely covered with leaves of the plants, of the grass and everything that was growing there in the forest. It could have hit a tree, then I would have died. It would have been destroyed. It could have hit a rock or something. They pulled out the car. It was full of dirt, earth, and the windscreen and everything was completely covered with these petals of these high grass and plants. Because there are plants, they got crushed, but they did not destroy the car. They pulled out the car with cranes and everything. It was a rented car. And I said, now let's see what happens. I have to talk to my insurance if there are damages or something. Nothing. They washed it. There was not even a scratch on the car. Not even a scratch on a car. Everything perfect. And somehow everything was organized that I reached Rotterdam to give my conference and do my work. So if these are not moments of grace, and very interesting, so I wrote saying, thank you for being present at a time when I was not present. Because it's true, I was not present.
Can you end with some humorous remembrances, perhaps, of your times with Mother or in the ashram? You've told us so many things already, but I think there are still a few more.
Oh my God. Let me think what humorous, because
we have to laugh.
No, because we have to laugh, and the mother always laughed. And because my life in the ashram was one stretch of joy and humor. It was never this serious yoga of meditations and painful yogas and asanas and all that. Everything was just a joy. And as I said, Mother had this beautiful sense of humor to explain to me when she says, that you left the evidence of what you stole and everything, and that's why you are caught. That's the mistake you made. And I said, next time I won't make the mistake. And she says, no, next time ask me. That's the best. They say, you won't make the mistake. But she never scolded, and she never, I can't remember ever Mother disciplining somebody. At least I can't remember. I don't know if others have said. But Mother never threatened. Mother never used menaces, this or that. Mother always explained. And not always. And when she didn't explain, I know that I used to get very upset. Oh, one little story. It is humorous also. There are 3 girls in the ashram, my colleagues. We were the same, we were in the boarding. Tarulata, Kokila, and Purnima. Purnima is the sister of Tara, who is in an ashram in Delhi, Johor. The
Yes,
Johor
I know
family.
very well.
A beautiful family, lovely family. And I was also to them very close to the Johor family.
Oh.
Yes. There was a time when I used to eat every single lunch there. I used to be in the boarding, but I used to
At
go to
their
lunch.
house?
Yeah, with Tara, she would take me to her house, and my mother used to cook fantastic Punjabi food. I used to call her Masiji. She used to cook fantastic. The mother of Tara cooked divine. Anyway, too bad you people are not there. So these 3 girls, the youngest sister of Tara, Purnima, Kokila, and Tarulata.
Oh, Kamala.
Tarulata, you don't know. She left after a long time ago, as a young girl already. So all 3 they were together, and they went to the mother, and they said to the mother, Dusma, we want you to give us a new name. So mother looked at them and said, Do, Re, Mi. So they were very proud, and they said to everybody, we have a new name. I'm Do. She said, I'm Re, I'm Me. And I was a small boy like them. I said, why they? I don't like Madhusudan. What a stupid name. I would like to have a name that Mother gives me. So I went to Dusmer. You gave name to Tabulata name. I would also like to have a new name. So please give me a name. So she looks at me, she smiles, and she says, my son. She looks and she looks and she looks and she says, my son, I have to first research what your name means. And already my frustration and anger and impatience goes in me. Huh? They get straight away, do, re, mi, and I have to wait. Say, yes, my child, be quiet. I have to first research. Then we will see. Then we will see, she says. The next day, she saw me going to show in the room. She calls me fiston. I go. She says, my child, I meditated on your name, and your name, Madhusudan, means vainqueur, the victorious. Vainqueur. Vainqueur is victorious.
Yes.
But I was a small boy. My French was very small in that sense. So to me, vainqueur, I did not know it means victorious. I said, vin is 20 in French. Vin is 20 in French.
Yes.
And cœur is heart. I said, 20 hearts, what a stupid name. And she says that it's very important. That's the right name for me, a boy with 20 hearts. I was frustrated, Alex, you won't believe. I was really frustrated. Then, it dawned on me much later, many years later, when my French became much better. I said, what a stupid fool I am. Vainqueur means the victorious. So I talked to the mother and I asked her, I said, Doucement, is that true? Vainqueur means victorious? Mais sûrement, mon fils, c'est toi. I said, yes, my child, that's you, victorious. Not that it meant anything, but at least it's better than 20 hearts. So those are the little episodes of mother, how she was with us children, how she was different with each child in the sense that she gave each child what they needed. And all she got back from me was a lot of work and a lot of questions. No, she was very patient. Vainqueur. Victorious, one who overcomes.
I think that's a wonderful way to end our interview
Don't
today.
listen to what I said, but don't do what I did. Just do what Mother and Aurobindo tells you to do.
Thank you.